Thousands of airline industry workers are out of a job, hoping Congress will send a financial lifeline their way. Many of them are being furloughed or laid off today after talks on Capitol Hill to extend government relief programs amid the pandemic stalled. Across the board, an estimated 45,000 employees are being affected by these job cuts. To talk more about this, we are joined by CBS News transportation correspondent Kris Van Cleave. Kris, great to have you with us on this sad day for the airline industry. So tell us, how long could these cuts last, and how will it impact travelers?
Well, for some of these employees, their jobs may never come back. The airlines are predicting a 4 to 5 year recovery back to 2019 levels. And it's possible that some of these real junior people who were furloughed may not actually get an opportunity to get those jobs back. Recovery is going to be slow, and really until there is a widely available vaccine that is shown to work, the airlines aren't expecting to see a whole lot of growth beyond where they are right now. So it's going to be a long, slow recovery, certainly when you're looking at the next 12 months.
Kris, I know you've been following this so closely. 45,000 is a devastating number, but much lower than airline officials originally estimated. Initially, they were saying that we could see as many as 100,000 layoffs. Why is there such a large gap between those two numbers? What's changed?
Well, a couple of things. There's been some aggressive cost cutting, and some of the work groups, some of the unionized labor have made deals to make changes to their work contracts to stave off furloughs. But also, you've seen 44,000 or so, at least, employees take exit packages and agree to leave. Every one of those 44,000 plus people who did that saved another job. You have another 74,000. At least 74,000 airline workers who have taken unpaid leave, anywhere from a month to a year. That effort also saved jobs. So, yeah, there are 45,000 or so people who are set to be furloughed or laid off as soon as today. But this ripples out to another 44,000 plus who have also left their jobs, and then many workers who are working without pay or opting to not work, essentially take unpaid leave. And then you have a lot of the workforce that have seen their hours cut, so they've had their pay cut, essentially. You work fewer hours, you get paid less.
And Kris, you mentioned earlier that the airline industry really thinks that a vaccine is going to be crucial to actually getting back up and running. What will travel be like for all the rest of us, casual travelers or business travelers, when there is a vaccine? And will many of these employees then be able to return to work, or will things be forever changed?
Well, it's hard to talk about forever. The airlines expect there will be a recovery in demand and that they will get back to the levels they saw in 2019, but it might not be until 2024 or 2025. Right now, business travel is almost non-existent, so some business travel recovery will help. I think the experienced flyers are seeing right now with masks, and that's going to change, going to stay at least through the widespread vaccine, and probably beyond that for some period of time. American Airlines is going to drop service to 15 cities next week if there's not a deal on Capitol Hill that extends the payroll support and orders them to maintain the existing service. I think one thing you'll find is that it could be harder to get places. There'll be fewer options. Where there might have been 10 flights between Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles, right now they're closer to 5. So that's one thing that changes. If you're going to smaller cities, instead of having multiple options, you might have one. So I think that's one thing that you will notice is changing now. Airlines are going to be flying less because they need to right-size their business, is the phrase they've been using. So most immediately to flyers, I think it's going to be harder to get places. And by the way, several airlines managed to not furlough people, but even they're saying that without a real steep improvement in their bottom line or additional government funding, they may have to look at staffing reductions as well. So it's 45,000 or so now. If this continues and drags for 6 months, 8 months, 12 more months, you could see some of the other carriers have to make some cuts as well.
All right, Kris Van Cleave, thank you.
Sure thing.